Yo, it's good. It's Mastermind MMA, and Tyron Woodley is coming out. And honestly, man, he's doing some shit that's like I don't agree with. Really, I'll just get out. I'll get right to it. We'll just get into it. So, fucking Tyron Woodley came on the MMA Hour, and he was saying he demands a public apology from Dana White, otherwise he's gonna leak some shit. And here's what I have to say about it. Once you take it there in a business relationship, you're on a path that's eventually gonna you're gonna see yourself getting ushered out of that relationship. You know, not now, not like in the immediate future, but honestly, man, it's just you once you start doing business that way, you're opening the door to that fucking dimension of operating that type of business. Because the UFC could do the damn same thing with you. And honestly, man, like I mean, I'm sure everybody who's real like into this MMA shit knows about the UFC and knows about its history, not only about the fighters, but also about the promotion and the promotional history and the journey it took to evolve to get where it is. But when you look at the roots of it, for the newer fans who really don't know, about the triple OGs, the Fertitas, and the Fertita family, who has certain ties and certain things, and basically, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's just like that world. So however you look at it, in a sense, it's almost the equivalent to how, not to that degree, but when you look at Pride, dude, and you just look at even though that's the climate in Japan, is just Yakuza is integrated in corporate and business culture. But, Pride was a Yakuza show. However you twist it and turn it, bro, that was some dope shit from the Yakuza. So it's like when you, not to that direct extent, but the UFC comes from that world in a sense as well. At least it's tied to it. So once you want to start walking that line of business with the corporation that kind of comes from that world, I mean, I'm not talking anything crazy about Tyron. I'm not saying like he's gonna go missing or shit like that. But it's gonna be more than they're not gonna be looking to do you any favors. Now you're opening the door to fucking with their pockets. And when you start doing that shit, man, like with people even, but with corporations and in business, dude, that's like when shit starts getting cutthroat. Straight up. Like, Tyron Woodley is inviting and welcoming and entering a very hostile, cutthroat environment from now on. And the most cutthroat thing about it, it's going to be so behind the scenes and even maybe subtle in an extent, because it's not going to be like shit's going to be on site and shit's going to go extremely left and all this. But they in the business world, they have a nice way of saying fuck you. So it's like he's really kind of running to that environment, and it's like, Tyron, like you're not built for that, dude. Like you need to at least, if you're going in the direction, you need to have some analytics behind you. You need to have a fan base behind you. I'm not saying Tyron doesn't have fans. He does. But when you're going to that extent, you're going to need a hold you down fan base. You can't have people that just rock with Tyron Woodley. You need to have people that are fucking down with Tyron. Like, Tyron is their shit and all that. And keep it real, dude. Like, just even looking at the climate of MMA right now, and even as something as silly as just troll bullshit, how often do you even see Tyron Woodley's, like, troll account? You know, I don't even think I've come across the Tyron Woodley troll account, dude. Like, that's kind of how irrelevant he is in a certain sense of the culture, where it's like a UFC fighter isn't a part of just like the general talk. And I'm not even saying that to make it equivalent. Oh, you're not like a meme or whatever. But it's like, I mean, it's just he's not really talked about, dude. That as he, I don't know, he doesn't have that following behind him. And if you're going up against the UFC and the UFC brass now against Ari Emanuel, who is, if you guys don't know, Entourage is my shit. One of my favorite shows. Ari Gold is one of my favorite characters from those shows, and Ari Emanuel's who they base that character off of. And I'm sure the Ari Emanuel in real life isn't as polished as Ari Gold in the show. Because there's certain things they're not going to really put out there for the public. So it's like, and he deals with Hollywood. So we know how the corporate culture is over in Hollywood. And how the politics are and shit. So it's like, you're fucking with these people in that realm, dude. That's their realm. I get that you're trying to stand up for your business and your principles, but dude, do it in a way that you could actually make a statement without endangering your actual, I don't know, dude, like your essentially your pockets. Cause they honestly, if you're talking about leaking some shit, my guy, they might throw you on Edmonton. They might 215 you, homie. You know what I mean? They might throw you on that. They might throw you on that Nunes and like on and DJ card. Not literally that exact card, but they might do some shit to you like that. That's the timeout. That's the detention card, man. That's the detention pay-per-view card. They said that. All right. They wanna speak like this is the UFC. They want to talk to us like this in negotiations and demand this. Here, we're gonna give you what you say you want, and then we're gonna make you be the sole person to carry it, and then we're gonna show you the direct numbers for that. And that's what 215 is. It's like, Amanda Nunes, you want to say you're the new draw, the second Ronda Rousey type draw. There's no more Ronda Rousey. All right, let's see you do some pay-per-view numbers. Let's talk business then. You want to talk negotiating business? Let's talk it. DJ, you want to say this? You want to demand this for this? All right. Here, we'll give you your fight. Let's see if what you claimed would probably happen is going to happen. And at that point, it's like, they're gonna do that to T-Wood, and that's like the minimal they're gonna do. They might take it further because he's talking about leaking some shit. You know how much they hate motherfuckers that leak info. Last motherfucker got a ban, and his name is Ariel Helwani, who's still facing repercussions from that shit. A year and some change later, he's still getting pulled from the biggest opportunity of his life outside of, of his career. And he got off of that fucking Showtime Floyd Connor shit. And to think a lot of Tyron's livelihood and extracurricular cash comes from the UFC. His Fox gig, that's UFC money. That's Zuffa money. You know what I mean? Fighting is obviously Zuffa money. So it's like, when you're trying to take a stance in business, you need to have some certain ducks in order before you could really, really come out on your principles like that. I'm not saying don't stand up for yourself. I'm saying when you're coming out talking like, I better get a public apology or I will be leaking shit. Now, I get you're heavily angling for the apology to show how offended you are. But Dana White is a motherfucker that holds a grudge and he'll remember some shit. So it's like you're taking it there, bud. So I don't know what, like, I get you're mad, but I don't know what your next step is. You expect to threaten to leak some shit, and then say that he gets the public apology, and it's gonna be like, oh, we're all good. Although it might, like, they might say that, but I don't know how. I mean, once someone shows you that characteristic, that's really part of who they are. So Dana White, in the back of his head, is gonna be like, all right, I gotta be careful what I let this motherfucker in on, and how we negotiate, and how we let him know some shit. So he's honestly fucking himself from climbing the ladder, because he's honestly going the route of using UFC and their tools to to line his pockets. Because his part of his brand is the Fox analyst gig. Excuse me. You know, look what they did to Verdum, dude. Verdum put a Nike check on his Reebok kit, and he got canned. He was like the Dominic Cruz of the Spanish-speaking world. He was like the championship caliber analyst that was just breaking shit down so lovely for the people in a way they could understand it in Spanish and in Portuguese. And like, but he was gigantic on the Spanish one. And it was like, they're like, oh, okay, you want to put fucking a Nike swoosh on that? Peace. Deuces. And then he didn't get he fought the same card as Stipe, beat Travis Brown, and then he fought Overeem, and then after, on top of that, he pulled out he didn't pull out. When Kane pulled out, he was like, fuck it, I'm not fighting anyone on short notice unless you give me this. So they were mad at him for that. So, I mean, they're like, all right, you know what, fuck it, we'll throw you Overeem. And then, you know, that arguably should have been a 5-round fight. But that was one of those ones that was a 3-round fight. And then, you know, I thought he won that shit. And then he lost the decision, but they're not going to treat it like he won. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, all right, he took that L. So they're not doing him any favors. Tyron, if he loses this belt, they're not going to do him any favors to guide him back to it. So he just kind of, I mean, he got a little reckless, dude. He moved too much off of emotion and not off of being calculated. And it's like, bro, I get that it is an extremely irritating thing. I could get why he's super pissed off. But on the same side, you have to know how to deal with that and even express yourself in a way where you could get off being in the right, but not really putting yourself in a position where you could. I mean, in a fight, dude, like, yeah, you might land like a hard jab, but now you open yourself up to a gigantic counter that could drop you. So it's like, why would you do some shit like that? And that's what he did. And I don't know, man. I think I said enough on it. I said my piece on it. So you already know it's Mastermind MMA.